Hello, kiddies. This is Alice Cooper on the Allan Handlemsn Show, where rock meets talk.
You know, if I think back to some of the most amazing shows over the years, the subject that we dealt with was UFOs. Fascinating subject, but still one of those subjects, even though it's fascinating and people are intrigued, it seems like it's frustrating too, because every time you get close to saying, okay, it's time now for the government to become honest about this, stop the cover-up and reveal information, and they never seem to do it. Most of the country, or at least the majority of the country believes that UFOs are connected some way to extraterrestrials. About 5% claim to have seen a UFO. And I can tell you from all the people we've had on the show over the years, from Stanton Friedman to Dr. J. Allen Hynek back in the day, I got to tell you, this subject still is compelling people. And I think the other thing I want to tell you, this is a new book that is out that really reveals the truth. It's kind of the book that says, okay, it's inevitable. There's going to be full disclosure. They're going to admit it. And this is what life may be like at that point. And the name of that book, AD, After Disclosure, when the government finally reveals the truth about alien contact. We have one of the authors with us, UFO expert and historian, Richard Dolan. Thanks for being here, Richard.
Oh, thank you, Alan. It's a pleasure to be here, honestly.
You know, you heard me say in the introduction, it's very frustrating because you expect something to happen. You're expecting, okay, they got to come clean. And they never seem to do it. Yet you see, many people believe that it is inevitable. Elaborate on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've often looked at the whole idea of disclosure, which is the big buzzword that a lot of the folks in UFO research now use for this. Disclosure, disclosure. Will the president disclose? I've always been of two minds about it. On the one hand, to me it's a paradox, honestly. It's impossible on the one hand, and it's inevitable on the other. The reason it's impossible, I think, is very easy for people to understand. We've had a situation now since really the 1940s at least, where you've got this great dissonance involved. People are encountering things that truly are unexplainable. Mm-hmm. And that includes our military. That includes members of the U.S. intelligence community have written about this. We know that they know there's something going on. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, they don't talk about it publicly. They dismiss it. So you've had this a lifetime, literally one human lifetime of secrecy and cover-up on the UFO matter. And when you really look at this whole network of secrecy, you just ask yourself, how will they ever be motivated to change their policy? And there's no reason for them to. I feel that they have too much to lose. However, here's why it's inevitable. It's inevitable that the secret will end because, frankly, they are not the only factor in this, the only variable in this equation. You've got the secret keepers, okay, but you certainly have these other entities, whatever they are, that are behind the UFO problem. Let's not forget them. And then the other factor, though, is us. It's the people. We're in a society that's changing so rapidly, so dramatically. I marvel when I look back over even the last 20 years of transformation of global society. Anyone who's gone through it knows what I'm talking about. We've gone, not just the web, it's not just smartphones, it's the whole nature of our connectivity, our ability to have a global conversation, our ability to get any piece of information instantly. And we're not done. We're on a trajectory here. Where are we going to be in another 20, 30 years? Well, a lot of experts will tell you we're at a verge of having strong AI, that is very powerful artificial intelligence, where your computer will be talking to you, telling you that maybe that it's a conscious, sentient being, and you just might believe those claims, even if it's not conscious the way you are. It'll seem like it, but with a relative IQ maybe of 200 or 300 or even more. This is what the experts are saying. So here's my point in all of this. If that's actually true, let's say another 20 years from now we all have these super intelligent, hyper-intelligent computers with us and all of this stuff. Do we really honestly think that we're not going to be any further along in figuring out this intractable issue, this UFO issue? I think that we will be farther along. And on top of that, it's not just strong AI that's going to solve the issue for us. That's only one sign. We are in an era now of WikiLeaks, for example.
Mm-hmm.
WikiLeaks didn't even exist 10 years ago because it couldn't exist 10 years ago because we did not have a global infrastructure able to handle something like WikiLeaks. Ditto things like YouTube and other ways of sharing information. I just think that what's going to happen is, as our society continues to go through this technological revolution, which is spurring revolutions in our society and our economics and our politics, I think something's going to give. I don't know what the exact trigger is going to be, but I see it. And I think something is going to force this issue open. And when it does, it's going to be like an avalanche. It's going to be messy. I don't think it's necessarily going to be fun at all, but it's going to happen whether we are ready for it or not.
Some of those things I want to go over scenario by scenario. I agree. I hope you're right. And here's my dilemma. I see the strong evidence. You have astronauts, you have pilots, you have cops who are trained to be observers who have seen these things. You have credible witnesses, former military people coming out about full disclosure. The evidence is overwhelming. This stuff through the Freedom of Information Act. Anybody analytically looking at the subject sees the overwhelming evidence. Those are the ones who take the time. On the other hand, I also know, doing talk radio, that there's a pretty large segment in this country that believe basically what they're hearing on their favorite cable channel. In other words, if this is all a bunch of crazy, wacko people, that seems to be the perception. They're not going to go further. They're not going to do any research. And God forbid, could you imagine if President Obama says there's something real here, what Republicans would do to him, just like if he said he smoked pot or something, right?
Absolutely, it's a political. It's one of these untouchable issues right now in politics. We're at a point right now in American politics, global politics, where you remember the old parable, the emperor with no clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got this very arrogant emperor, and he wants to have the finest clothing available, and this one great con artist convinces him that he's got the finest fabric, the best fabric. It's so fine you can't even see it practically, unless you look really, really hard. So he swindles him out of all this money. Then the emperor parades naked down into the town, right? And everyone's so intimidated, no one wants to state the obvious except one little child who says, but look, he's not wearing anything at all. We are right on the cusp of that, I think. We're at this point where everyone kind of knows. Everyone knows that there's this reality, and no one within the mainstream, whether that's media, whether that's politics, whether that's academia, science, is willing to stick themselves out there because it's a career killer. So if the president were to make a statement right now, absolutely, the Republicans would be all over him. That's why he's not going to do it. He'll only do it when he is forced to the wall.
This is the Allan Handelman Show. Compelling talk radio.
This is a great product. I love this, from the C. Crane Company. Have you ever bought one of those FM transmitters you might find at the auto department at a department store, where you try to get audio from your MP3 player to your car on FM? And you get one, and it sort of works. It doesn't even get through, in many cases, the interference. And even if it does, it sounds awful. It's tinny. I mean, if you came to a radio station that sounded like that, you wouldn't listen to it. Well, now all that's changed thanks to this amazing transmitter at the C. Crane Company. It's an FM transmitter. They call it FM Transmitter 2. Number 1 was great, but the FM Transmitter 2 is broadcast quality audio. Yeah, broadcast quality audio. I'll give you the website. You got to check out the reviews. And basically, just a small little thing, real cool, works on batteries, or it has a thing where you can plug it in. And when you do plug it in, no AC hum. But you just put it into your MP3 player, and you're on the air. You pick the frequency that has adjustments for the level, and the clarity is amazing. I use it all the time. If I'm out cutting the grass and I want to have it on my little FM headset, I can listen to the music in full stereo. It's the FM Transmitter 2 at the C. Crane Company, ccradio.com. ccradio.com. Love that. In fact, when you're there, and even if you're not interested in buying anything, just get the catalog, the free catalog, read it. You could do it online, or I'll give you a phone number in just a bit. Here's the price for that FM transmitter, $59.95. That's it, $59.95. I guarantee you're going to love it. Tell your friends about it. Read the reviews. Read about the modifications. It's all on the website, ccradio.com. Here's their phone number. To order a free catalog, to order this device or anything else you see, 800-522-8863. 800-522-8863. One more time, 800-522-8863. And the nice people you talk to, they're going to ask you for a code. How did you hear about it? You just say, Allan.
And now, here's something from Coors Light for everybody out there who loves summer.
I love working on my tan. That girl from the taco stand. Lots of long weekends and twins. I love the red, white, and blue. Backyard barbecues. Cold ones on the beach. And twins. And I love you too. Here's the summer.
Yeah. Have yourself a long, hot summer and an ice-cold Coors Light. Coors Light. Cold, down, easy. Rock on. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Allan Handelman, Ray Manzarek, The Doors, we go back a long way. I love the Allan Handelman Show. My name is Ray Manzarek.
One of the most frustrating things is when you are interested in the subject of UFOs, you take it seriously. Doesn't mean you believe that everything unidentified comes from extraterrestrials. It's just fascinating. But it gets to a point you're frustrated because nothing seems to happen. More and more people understand there's a cover-up, but they keep denying it. Well, many are saying, well, that's coming to an end. There's going to be full disclosure. A new book out, AD, After Disclosure, when the government finally reveals the truth about alien contact. We're talking to Richard M. Dolan, one of the authors and a famous UFO expert. So you think this is going to happen anytime soon?
It could be next year, but it's more likely, I think, maybe 5 or 10 years from now, but I think it's going to happen. In other words, think about how unforeseeable something like last year's Arab Spring was. Mm-hmm. That shocked everyone. That's not done, by the way. They're still going at it in Egypt and Bahrain and elsewhere. So, in other words, people can turn on a dime.
Especially with social media, man, oh man.
Right. So I think we're, to assume that just because today is a little bit like yesterday, that tomorrow's going to be like today, I think that's a false analogy. Mm-hmm. Something's going to happen, and again, it could be a number of things. It could be a mass sighting that's captured on multiple devices and somehow can't be explained away. It just kind of takes on a life of its own. I really do think that's possible. Now, we haven't had that yet. You've got YouTube, which has hundreds of videos every single year, and many of them are CGI and really good quality hoaxes. But that doesn't mean that they're going to be like this forever. I think we're at a stage right now where the ability to create great fake videos it's difficult for us to get around. But again, I think that this is a problem that we're going to surmount it. Smartphones are going to have new capabilities. They're going to have infrared before long. They're going to have electromagnetic detection capabilities at some point. So in other words, our own abilities are going to continue. Something's going to happen. There could be a WikiLeaks event. A year ago, Julian Assange of WikiLeaks made a very suggestive statement about UFOs, of all things.
Elaborate about it. Let us tell me more about it.
He said a little over a year ago that WikiLeaks had some tremendous UFO data. One of the WikiLeaks spokespersons said it was something like equivalent to a thermonuclear event, and it was UFO related. And all of us in the research field were going like, say what? What is this? And it hasn't come out. They made this statement, and then nothing, really nothing. So it makes you think, there's something going on, and then were they pressured into withholding this? Who knows? I don't know. But the thing is, this is